Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What's going on, guys? It is TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL edition, Week 13 picks. With me, as always, is the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. Jake, how's it going, brother?
Everything's good. Lions still just dominating, so everything's good on my end.
Rolling right along. I love that photo that came out of Aaron Glenn, just straight chilling on the bench. Like, I've given up 10 points in the past 2 weeks. I got no worries in the world. I love it.
Straight own the AFC South. I think they haven't given up like a second half point in like 4 games. Like, yeah. Pretty solid effort for a team that lost arguably their best player for the rest of the season. So, I like what the Lions are doing. Let's start things off here with just a recap of last week's records. Jake finished 6-7, missed his lock with KC, missed his dog with San Francisco. Record for the year is 93-84, so still a few games above 500. I finished 7-6. I hit my lock with Detroit, missed my dog with the Chargers. My record for the year is 87-90, so I just creeping a little closer to plus 500. It's where I'm trying to get at. Jake, what's going on in Vegas? So a little interesting, kind of talk about the Rams a lot on this show. There was a bettor at Caesar's Palace that wagered $1 million on the Rams plus 3 for Sunday Night Football. Unfortunately, the Eagles won 37-20. It's got to be a tough way to lose. Some notable things for this week. We did have a bettor at Caesar's put a $200,000 money line bet on the Lions against the Bears. That bet would win $33,333. The Carolina Panthers, they are plus 6 this week versus the Bucs. They will be underdogs in their 32nd consecutive game. Underdogs in 40 of their last 41 games, and they're 16-22-2 against the spread in those games. Kansas City Chiefs have now failed to cover the spread in 5 straight games. That is tied for their longest streak under Andy Reid, which was weeks 2 through 6 of the 2015 season. A little recap, best teams in the NFL right now against the spread. The Lions are the best at 9-2. The Broncos are second at 9-3. Steelers are 8-3. Chargers are 7-3. Vikings are 7-3-1. And the Colts are 8-4.
That last one's a little interesting. Colts 8-4.
They've played a lot of close games except for when they played good teams.
Yeah, what happened in that Detroit game?
Yeah, it's 6 points.
That's right. All right. Well, let's jump into some stuff here. First, if you guys didn't watch the Thursday night football game, man, it was cinematic to say the least. Kicked off with a bang. Browns beat the rival Pittsburgh Steelers 24-19 due to some late night heroics from TNT podcast favorite Jameis Winston. A lot of chaos in the game. The Browns led 18-6 with 12 minutes left. A fumble and subsequent interception from Winston almost cost them the victory. Those two mistakes handed the lead back to the Steelers 19-18. Thankfully for Jameis, Cleveland's defense stepped up, and in the ensuing drive, Jameis made a huge third down conversion that set up a go-ahead touchdown from Nick Chubb with less than a minute remaining. Questionable call from Tomlin there. They had a call, and they could have declined it and put it into 4th and 2, but instead he accepted it and then gave them an extra down, which then turned into the subsequent go-ahead touchdown that won Cleveland the game. So some questionable play calling from Tomlin. We got a couple things to pull up here. The first thing, I want to show you guys the difference between snow and no snow. This is one drive apart.
That's crazy.
This is just absolutely insane how quickly the weather turned there. That's that lake effect that Cleveland's very, very accustomed to. After that, we've just got some clips here of Jameis. For those of you who
being Jameis,
for those of you who listen to our show often, we are huge fans of Jameis Winston, as is virtually everyone in the NFL. And we don't have this clip to show, but at the end of the game against the Saints last week, Cleveland lost the game, but virtually every person in New Orleans that played on the team or coached or is a part of the front office basically stood in a line and waited to give Jameis a big hug. Like, that just kind of tells you the type of dude this guy is. But if you're not familiar with him, we're going to show you some clips. Let's start off with him riling up the guys in the locker room.
Call your auntie, call your cousins, call your kids, I'm on TV.
Call your aunties, call your cousins. I'm on TV, baby. How do you not get riled up for that?
He's the absolute best.
He is. He's glorious. Let's show that I can't wait for this to come out, by the way. This in-season Hard Knocks that's going to happen.
Yes.
Covering the entire AFC North is so exciting. I'm so glad they adopted the in-season performance. We got a clip from HBO Max where they're showing one of the big touchdown from Jameis. Let's roll the clip.
This show literally should be 2 hours every week, and the second hour should just be Jameis highlights of the week.
Yeah, I agree.
You know he could fill a second hour easily.
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, this play is badass.
Chance to make it right here. One more play. Winston to throw. 4th down. Winston under pressure. Scrambling. Pump fake. He's going to run. He jumps. Touchdown. Jameis Winston on 4th down. Weaving, bobbing, jumping. Lands on his back.
I mean, Jameis Winston is living a dream right now. No doubt.
I mean, that clip of him at the end where that snow is just pouring down and he's just isolated it's just such a badass clip. I'm so excited for HBO Max and rocking that for the rest of the season.
Well, the other thing too is, I mean, he's from Alabama. He played in the South. The dude's never even like been in snow in his life. So like he truly is just in like his own world in this snow globe game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a perfect cue for the next one here, because the next clip we have is post game when Jameis is talking to the guys on the Amazon Prime desk about his daughter ready to eat snow.
When I woke up this morning and I FaceTimed my wife and my boys were going to school, my baby was eating the snow. So I was like, man, it would be wonderful to eat the snow. And we got this win, so I'm definitely going to eat some snow today.
Oh, man. Jameis, once he ate some snow, was not done with the snow. And he had the Prime desk so fired up that they joined him in some celebrations.
Note how Jameis dives into the snow for the snow angel. This might be the only time in my life I've ever seen a face first snow angel.
Really doing this?
Let's do it.
Oh no, wait.
We're all going. Let's go, Tony.
I'll watch.
Let's go.
I'll watch. Yeah. Have fun.
Only Jameis Winston would do that. You're the best.
So not only did Jameis go head first, but then every person from the Prime desk subsequently followed suit and head first dove Pete Rose style into the snow, except for Tony Gonzalez, who apparently is afraid of getting cold. But then the last thing we've got here is hearing Jameis in true Jameis fashion walking off after the win. And mind you, this game was broadcast on Amazon Prime, so just perfect product placement here by Jameis as he walks off.
I just got off Amazon and I'm probably about to go order a dove off Amazon. It's going to get here to my house by 9 o'clock tonight. That's how fast it is.
That's the best.
If Jameis is not on Amazon Prime commercials by the end of this week, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
He's the absolute best.
Yeah, he's wonderful, and we could spend the entire show just showing clips of Jameis being Jameis. But let's talk a little bit about the character arc that happened in Cleveland, going from possibly the most disliked person in the NFL to arguably the most liked person in the NFL. I mean, is Jameis a top 15 quarterback in the league right now? Probably not.
No.
But from a standpoint of rallying your guys in a season where you're not going to make the playoffs, like, who would you rather have step up? Like, I would love for Jameis Winston to be in the Cowboys locker room. Any locker room in the NFL would be lucky to have him. But just the character development arc that happened from going from possibly the worst person in the NFL to go into a guy that is just hard to hate. I love it for Cleveland.
I mean, he is the definition of a leader. Like, some people find what he does like kind of corny and stuff like that, but I mean, it works. Like, he has support. I mean, I'm a Florida State fan, so Jameis has been in my life for quite a while at this point. The game when he got suspended, the Clemson game, when he yelled fucker right in the pussy in the student union. He came out dressed for pregame. He was trying to warm up with the team still.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you watch the game on the sideline, like, he was the biggest. Sean McGuire was the quarterback. He was the biggest supporter of Sean. He was the biggest supporter of the team. They actually won the game in overtime to keep the streak alive at that point. And Jameis was the first one on the field. Like, Jimbo even had to be like, Jameis, you've got to calm down. Like, he's just that. He's a cheerleader. He's a fan. He is a leader, though. I mean, it works. And and obviously, as years have gone by, he's more of a, I guess you'd see more of like a reverend type speech that he gives. There's a lot of religious stuff and like gospel preaching. He's even gone. I think he was in New Orleans when he actually went to a church and did some stuff there. But I mean, you can just tell, but everyone seems to love him. Like, yeah, what he does is hilarious, but he's still also successful with it.
Yeah, 100%. I hope we have a whole hell of a lot more Jameis Winston. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, the fact that he's going to be on Hard Knocks in season is enough. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like, if you look at the situation in Cleveland, if they don't want to go back to Deshaun Watson, like, I don't think Jameis Winston is a badge bridge quarterback. If they're going to look for somebody, like, let
be a cheap
Winston,
option.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be there to lead, which is obviously a big thing that Deshaun Watson does not bring to the equation. Now, whether or not our Killers buddy decides to stick with him, or in true Jimmy Haslam fashion, they'll probably just let him walk. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here. Crazy ending to the Cowboys game. The score was 10-9. Dallas heading into the fourth quarter after a 48-yard field goal from Brandon Aubrey to take it to 13-9. Dallas scored on a 22-yard pass from Cooper Rush to Luke Schoonmaker to make it 20-9 with just over 5 minutes to play. And then what happened from there was pure chaos. Commanders drive down the field with just over 2 minutes, and get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion that takes the game to 2017. On the ensuing kickoff, Dallas kick returner Kevontae Turpin muffs the kick, picks it up, and then proceeds to go 99 yards to score, making it 27-17. Commanders stall on the next possession, but managed to get 3 points on a 51-yard field goal from Austin Siebert with 1:40 to go to make it 27-20. Cowboys have possibly the fastest 3-and-out in history when they really needed to burn some time. Hand the ball back to the Commanders, who then proceed to score an 86-yard touchdown pass from Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin. But Siebert, who had just hit a 50-yarder, flubbed the extra point and left the score 27-26. The Commanders then attempted an onside kick, but forgot to cover the pickup man, and Wan'Way Thomas picks this ball up and takes off for a 43-yard kick return score. Aubrey kicks the extra point. Final score is 34-26.
He's an absolute idiot for not going down. He was an absolute idiot.
Well, and when they clipped over to the sideline and they showed Bones and McCarthy talking to each other, and Bones is like shaking his head, and you can tell he's pissed, but you're also like, that just won us the game. So,
but it didn't though. It was still one possession. It was dumb. It was an 8-point game.
Well, it's 34-26 at that point.
Which is 8. That's one possession. If he would have slipped and went down, the game was over.
Yeah, but I mean, what did they had I don't know how much time was left on the clock. Anyway, it's typical fucking Cowboys fashion. It's been a hell of a season. Talking to Texas, like, excited that we won, but also bummed because we're dropping out of the top 10 in picks, which I said this was going to happen when all the shit was going down with Dak getting hurt and stuff. We're going to finish with a mediocre. We'll end up in the 13 to 15 range. We're not going to get a top 10 pick. That's just the way that Dallas works.
Jerry even came out today and said a contract extension for McCarthy wasn't out of the question. I'm sure everyone loves hearing that.
I'm going to jump out the window if we give Mike McCarthy a fucking contract extension.
I was baffled by that.
Jesus Christ. Okay. What? Any thoughts from your end on the game, or what's been going on with the Commanders? The Commanders are in a 3-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NFL. It's a division game. You got to expect craziness. The ending of that game was definitely crazy, but I mean, I don't think you look too much into it. I think they're still a good team. I mean, I don't think they're a world beater team anyway, but I think they're a team that's going to be there and contending.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think they might have a little bit of a pickup game this week, but we'll see what's going on with the Commanders. I can't remember who they're playing this week, but it should be a relatively easy win for them. Let's hope on their side anyway. All right, moving on here. Quarterback Daniel Jones requested and has been granted a release from the New York Giants on Friday after 6 seasons with the team. This came 4 days after head coach Brian Daboll announced his benching ahead of the Week 12 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jones has cleared waivers and is free to sign with whatever team he'd like. It sounds like he is targeting a team that potentially could have a path to the Super Bowl. There's been, I think the Raiders at some point had picked the phone up and tried to call, and Daniel Jones is like, I'm not interested in going to the Raiders right now. And understandably so. He'd rather be a backup on a team where he has a chance to potentially make the playoffs if somebody gets injured. Meanwhile, Giants rookie Malik Neighbors is not hiding his frustration, calling his team's effort soft and challenging the media to ask Daboll about the play calling that led to Neighbors not seeing a target until the second half of the game after the team was already down multiple scores. Neighbors said, first, second quarter, I don't get the ball. Started getting targets at the end. I mean, can't do nothing. Start getting the ball when it's 30-0. What do you want me to do? And when he was asked why he wasn't getting the ball in the first half, he's like, I don't know. Talk to Dabs about that. And then he went on to say, obviously, it ain't the quarterback. Same outcome when we had DJ at quarterback. Take a look. It ain't the quarterback. Reports are that Daboll and Neighbors have spoken about his comments since the game. Jake, I know you watched Hard Knocks. Ahead of the draft, Neighbors was not shy at all about saying that he not only wants the ball, but he has a problem when he is not getting touches. And Daboll was very clear in that that's the kind of dog that I want in a guy. We're going to have to deal with the attitude on occasion, but this is the kind of guy that we want. What are your thoughts on his comments? And more importantly, do you think Daboll's days are numbered in New York?
Yeah, I mean, that whole situation's bad. I mean, obviously, I think we got to start with Shane, the GM. Mara's obviously pissed at him for getting rid of Saquon, so that's issue number one. Daboll, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Daboll right now. Obviously, he's not having the success people thought he would, but they also don't have anything. Like, that team to me is not good. I even said, I don't know if it was draft night. It probably was draft night and draft recap, whatever, preview. The Neighbors wasn't my shoes. I would have never chose Neighbors in that spot. They have so much more of a need. Clearly, I think that's showing because they're still god awful. I mean, obviously, Neighbors has been good still, but that team's just in such a bad situation that I don't know what the fix is. But I think we're going to see a change at GM. I'm guessing we probably see a head coaching change also, and obviously, we're going to see a quarterback change there. So, probably a whole new regime coming in there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in New York. I honestly, I think Daboll's a good coach. I think it's hard to win with the players that they have on the field. They have a couple solid defensive additions, bringing in Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence is a stud, but they've got a lot of missing pieces. I don't think this is a single season fix. I don't think new coach comes in and they make a couple quick changes, sign a couple free agents, and it's done. The Giants are going to be in a little bit of a rebuild. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on here, Denver Broncos versus LA Chargers Week 16 game has been flexed to Thursday Night Football. Browns versus Bengals was originally slotted there. That has been moved to 1 p.m. this Sunday. That's December 19th. Congrats to Eagles running back Saquon Barkley. We were just talking about. He set an Eagles single game and a personal record on Sunday after finishing with 255 yards on the ground in a defeat of the LA Rams in SoFi. Barkley became the first player in NFL history with multiple rushing touchdowns on 70-plus yard plays in the second half of a single game, which is kind of a weird stat, but I thought it was interesting. Speaking of other teams that are in full rebuild mode, the New York Jets are beginning their GM and head coach search with former GM Mike Tannenbaum assisting in the team's hiring process, which is a little interesting.
So stupid.
Thoughts on that, Jake?
It's so stupid. You bring in a guy you fired as your GM before to look for a new GM. And this is also the same guy on TV that was trying to trade. What was he trying to trade? Myles Garrett for like Jahmyr Gibbs and like 45 first round draft picks. Like, he's an absolute moron. Like, I think, I mean, this is status quo for the Jets apparently right now, but it's not looking good anywhere. And that organization might be the only one worse than the Giants, honestly.
Yeah. And funnily enough, they're both in New York. So
yeah, same stadium.
It's
terrible.
Stadium at that. Yeah. Maybe that's the start, is to actually get them to be in New York so they stop playing in Jersey.
True. Yeah.
That's probably a good start. Free agent left tackle DJ Humphries has been medically cleared to play following his recovery from a torn ACL. He is signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Lions wide receiver Jamison Williams, if you're watching the show, you can see the photo towards the bottom there. He's been fined $19,697 for unsportsmanlike conduct under obscene gestures for a touchdown celebration in last week's game. For those who may not have recognized the Selly, Waymo gave a nod to the Marshawn Lynch touchdown celebration that we've seen more than once. They did ask or get a clip of Marshawn reacting to it, and he loved it. Well,
one thing that's ridiculous with that too is, and Dan Campbell actually talked about this today in his press conference, the NFL not only has used that clip multiple times, but they had it as the headline of one of their articles too. And Dan Campbell's like, isn't it funny how you can make it what you want to make it? Like, you can show it and make it look like it's this great thing for the NFL, but behind the scenes, you're finding the guy like $20,000. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Well, and he's been fined. It's like $8,000 more than what Marshawn Lynch was fined when Marshawn Lynch did it last too. That's significant inflation. Also getting charged Patrick Mahomes. He's been fined $14,069 for unsportsmanlike conduct under a violent gesture for a touchdown celebration in last week's game. Reports are that Baltimore Ravens were hunting for a defensive lineman upgrade, and they were targeting defensive end Calais Campbell from the Dolphins before Miami's head coach Mike McDaniel stepped in to stop the trade, believing Campbell would be too valuable to lose. He actually did sit down with Calais Campbell and talk to him about the decision, and by all accounts, it sounded like Calais was good with staying with Miami. Patriots defensive back Jabril Peppers has been reinstated from the commissioner's exempt list. Linebacker Shaq Barrett, who is currently under contract with the Dolphins, has applied for reinstatement after announcing his retirement over the summer. He is willing to play for Miami. And Rams wide receiver Demarcus Robinson was arrested on suspicion of DUI on Monday morning, according to the California Highway Patrol. Officers observed his car traveling upwards of 100 miles an hour around 5 a.m. Monday morning. Word is still out on what the level of punishment will be. Sean McVay has already acknowledged and said that the reports are accurate and that they're digging further into it before they determine what the potential punishment will be.
Probably be the future wide receiver coach at the University of Georgia.
That's probably accurate. Running through some injuries, Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew is out for the rest of the season after suffering a broken collarbone in Sunday's loss to the Broncos. Luckily for the Raiders, if you want to call it that, Aiden O'Connell is off IR this week, and he is in line to start Sunday's game against Kansas City. Originally, they were talking about having Desmond Ridder out there, but it is going to be Aiden O'Connell. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham is out for the season with the torn triceps. Panthers tight end Jatavian Sanders avoided a serious injury after he was taken off the field and hospitalized for observation after suffering a neck injury in the team's 3-point loss to the Chiefs. Sanders is back at the team's facility as they continue to monitor him. Good news for Lions fans. They'll have both Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield on Thursday. Running back David Montgomery suffered a shoulder injury in Sunday's win against the Colts that knocked him out of the rest of the game, but he's already announced that he will be back in time for Detroit's Thanksgiving Day game against the Chicago Bears. Texans safety Jalen Petre is expected to miss multiple weeks with a partial pectoral tear suffered in Sunday's loss against the Titans. Colts wide receiver Josh Downs is considered week to week and is a long shot to play in Week 13's matchup against the New England Patriots. Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito is dealing with a sore throwing arm and is not 100% to play in Thursday's Thanksgiving matchup against the Cowboys. He missed one play during Sunday's loss to the Bucs after taking a hard hit. He did go back out. Drew Lock is currently the backup and would be starting in his place if he's unable to go. Tampa Bay safety Jordan Whitehead is feared to have suffered a torn pectoral in Sunday's win over the Giants and is likely out for the rest of the regular season. But they did say he has a chance to return if the Bucs make a playoff run. Commanders running back Austin Eckler is in league's concussion protocol after a really scary hit that appeared to have knocked him temporarily unconscious on the field before being able to walk off in his own power. Let's see. Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins. He left the game in the second quarter of Monday night's loss to the Ravens with a knee injury. Head coach Jim Harbaugh did not have an update on his status after the game. I feel really bad for that dude, man. I hope it's not a significant injury. He just cannot stay healthy. And then finally, Commanders kicker Austin Siebert, who's been battling a hip injury and was near tears after the loss against the Cowboys on Sunday, has been placed on IR, and he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. He's been dealing with a hip injury, but this could be an injury that has been added on top of it. All right, before we jump into the picks for Week 13, let's take a look at what the playoff scenario looks like right now. So on the AFC side of the equation, we have Kansas City is at the 1 seed, so they are the team that gets the first round bye. They will get, well, I guess it depends on how it shakes out because this stuff reseeds every round here. But in the first round, we've got the Houston Texans at home facing the Baltimore Ravens. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the LA Chargers, and we have the Buffalo Bills hosting the Denver Broncos. And then on the NFC side, Jake's Detroit Lions are sitting in the 1 seed comfortably, and they get their first round bye. First round wild card games, we've got the Atlanta Falcons hosting the Minnesota Vikings. We have the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Green Bay Packers, and we have the Philadelphia Eagles in an NFC matchup facing the Washington Commanders. Jake, what are your thoughts here? Some of these matchups.
Yeah, the NFC is crazy because the fucking Vikings and Packers never lose. So our division, like, we could go from the 1 seed to the 6 seed, like, quick. Like, it's very, I mean, we're 10-1 and we have a risk of being the damn 6 seed. Like, it's just crazy how quick things could change because of our division being so good. But the other thought to this is you have to assume Philly would beat Washington. So that puts, I think either Green Bay or Minnesota, either one of them could win that. So in reseeding, that would be our third game against either one of them. It would be at least in Detroit, which is positive. On the AFC side, a lot of interesting matchups. I think Buffalo would be pretty safe in that game with Denver, but Chargers, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore, Houston. I mean, you're looking potential Chiefs, Baltimore for the first Chiefs game too. So I mean, there's some crazy matchups there going on. Like, if it's 1-5 on both sides, and it's Detroit, Minnesota, and Kansas City, Baltimore, like the 1 seeds, I mean, yeah, they're the home teams, but my God, like that's not how you want to start the playoff run. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. I'm just really hoping the Lions can hold on. I don't want to have to go on the road in the playoffs. The schedule, it's kind of all over the place coming up. Philly's got some tough games. We've got some tough games. I'm really scared that the Niners find a way to sneak into that 7th spot somehow. And then, of course, if they were to win their first round game, then the Niners might finally be healthy, and you're playing the Niners in your first home playoff game if you're the Lions. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of situations that are real scary to still think about, and it's going to be crazy to watch it all play out. But I mean, Denver even being in still as the 7's kind of crazy in the AFC. I know they've been playing really well, but it's what do we got? 5 weeks left at this point, so it'll be interesting to see how the last 5 kind of play out.
Yeah, I don't think this is 100% settled either. My Seahawks sitting at the 3 spot. NFC West is very much up in the air right now. Yeah. Atlanta sitting at the 4. I talked about this last week. Watch out for Tampa Bay. I really think that Tampa Bay, as they get healthier, are going to make a run here towards the end of the season. They may end up in that 4 spot. A rematch if Detroit and Tampa then would probably be less likely if they're sitting in the 4 seed in the first round anyway. Washington's got to get their shit figured out. I still think that they're probably going into making the playoffs, but the 7 seed seems to be more likely. And to your point, NFC North has been playing lights out. You know, these teams aren't losing. So having Minnesota and Green Bay there, that's not a good first round matchup for Detroit when you're potentially facing one of 2 teams that know them very, very well. On the AFC side, Houston playing at home, I think, is better suited for them. That'd be a rematch of last year, and CJ Stroud's been struggling a little bit. They're obviously not as healthy. They're not going to have Stephon Diggs. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Houston does play a little better at home, although they lost to Tennessee last week. I know the Chargers just lost on Monday night, but I do love what the Chargers are doing. Hopefully J.K. Dobbins is going to be healthy and they can continue down that path. I think that's a tough matchup for Pittsburgh in round 1 to meet Harbaugh on that defense. And Buffalo, Denver, man, like I wouldn't shake my hand. Like Bo Nix has been playing better week over week, and Sean Payton's got that defense playing really well too. I think Buffalo's the better team, but Denver's used to cold weather games. So it's not like they're going to walk into Buffalo and not be used to that. It's not a situation where Miami goes to Kansas City. There's obviously a lot to shake out here. I certainly don't think that this is what the final bracket is going to look like, but it's fun to look at here as we edge closer and closer to the end of the season. All right, guys, let's jump into it here. It's time to make some picks. First up here of our Thanksgiving Day matchups, we've got 3 of them, is an NFC North showdown as the 4-7 Chicago Bears head to Motor City to battle the 10-1 Detroit Lions. 12:30 p.m. kickoff at Ford Field on CBS. Detroit returns home from a 24-6 victory over the Colts in Indianapolis and is riding a 9-game winning streak, while the Bears hit the road after a 3-point overtime loss at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings and have now lost 5 straight. Over-under is 48.5. Detroit is favored by 10.5.
Yeah, the line's a little big for me, but all the Lions have done is win and cover. So I'm taking the Lions minus 10.5. I mean, it's just Caleb's playing really well. I'm actually kind of concerned for our defense in this game because still have some injuries in the secondary. Vildor got completely exposed last week against the Colts, and if Anthony Richardson can expose you, anyone can expose you. So it's kind of a little scary in that aspect, but I do like the Lions at home to cover the 10.5.
Yeah, Fighting Dan Campbell's been putting up a lot of points, and Aaron Glenn's just got this defense basically on lockdown right now. I know that they've not been playing teams maybe necessarily have the same offensive weapons potentially as the Bears have, but I'm still going to go with Detroit here to win and cover at home. Significant spread, but I think they're going to get it done. Next up on the Turkey Day trifecta is an NFC East battle as the 2-9 New York Football Giants head to Jerry World to take on the 4-7 Dallas Cowboys. 4:30 p.m. kickoff at AT&T Stadium on Fox. New York hits the road to Dallas looking to avoid their 7th straight loss after a 23-point defeat at the hands of the Tampa Bay Bucks, while the Cowboys return home after an insane 34-26 win over the Commanders in Landover and look to make it 2 in a row. Over-under is 37.5. Dallas is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, combined 6 wins and a 37.5 over-under, and sun peeking through the window at AT&T Stadium. This one's got all the makings for what we want. This game sucks. I don't think the Giants are worth a damn. I don't care if it's Cutlets or Lock. I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 3.5.
Yeah, Giants have questions. Head coach under center, problems in the locker room. I don't think any of that bodes well for this game. Giants also haven't covered a spread as an underdog with this close of a point differential this season. So I'm going to go Big D here to win and cover as well. Finale to our Thanksgiving Day games has the 5-6 Miami Dolphins heading to Titletown to face off against the 8-3 Green Bay Packers. 8:20 p.m. kickoff at Lambeau Field on NBC. Miami is quietly on a 3-game winning streak and looking for number 4 after beating the Pats 34-15 in Hard Rock, while the Packers look to continue their home field advantage and make it 3 in a row after beating the Niners 38-10 on Sunday. Over under in this one is 47.5. Green Bay is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, the Dolphins have been good since Tua's been back, and the Dolphins can run the ball. I'm just afraid that the cold weather theory, it's supposed to be very cold in this game. So until they prove to me they can go somewhere cold and win, I'm taking the Packers minus 3.5.
Yeah, my exact same notes. Dolphins have been looking good as of late, but we've seen this team struggle in cold weather. Tua is 0-7 when the temperature is 40 or less, and they are calling for snow in this game. It may be a closer game than we expect because Miami's got a tough run defense, and I think that may slow down Josh Jacobs a little bit, who has been playing very well this year. But I am going to go Green Bay here in a classic Lambeau matchup. Our typical Thursday night football slot is shifted to Black Friday this week as the 2-9 Las Vegas Raiders head to the Heartlands to take on the 10-1 Kansas City Chiefs. 3 p.m. kickoff at Arrowhead on Amazon Prime. KC narrowly got back on track on Sunday after beating the Panthers by 3 in Charlotte, while the Raiders have now lost 7 straight and hit the road after a 10-point defeat at the hands of the visiting Denver Broncos. Over-under is 42.5. KC is favored by 12.5.
5 straight non-covers for the Chiefs. At some point, they have to cover. I mean, at home, national televised game against a team that's offense doesn't exist. You would have to think this is the time. I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm going to take the Chiefs minus 12.5.
Yeah, for all the reasons that you just mentioned, I can't pick the Chiefs. I think they're going to win this game probably by 10, but 12.5 is just too rich for me. So I'm going to take the Raiders. The first of our 1 p.m. games features the 7-4 Los Angeles Chargers as they head to the ATL to battle the 6-5 Atlanta Falcons. 1 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on CBS. LA hits the road after a 7-point Monday Night Football loss at home against the Ravens, while the Falcons return from their bye week and look to avoid their 3rd straight loss. Over-under is 47.5. LA is favored by 1.5.
Yeah, short week on the road. Situationally, to me, it's just not a good situation for the Chargers here, and we don't know about JK either, so I'm actually going to be on the Falcons here.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. LA being on a short week and then maybe without Dobbins. That means that Beast Herbert's going to have to show up here. The Chargers have done well on the road when traveling to the East Coast, but they've had their offense fully healthy. I'm going to go Chargers still. I'm going to go Chargers here to win and cover. Probably going to regret it, but we're going to go with the Chargers. Next up, the 5-7 Indianapolis Colts head to Foxborough to take on the 3-9 New England Patriots. 1 p.m. at Gillette Stadium on CBS. Indy hits the road after a 24-6 loss to the Detroit Lions, while the Patriots return home and look to avoid 3 straight losses after a 19-point defeat at the hands of the Dolphins in Miami. Over under is 42.5. Indy is favored by 2.5.
My favorite trend in the NFL is, did you just play the Lions? The Colts can say yes. That means the Colts will lose, so I will take the Patriots.
I just don't trust this Colts offense to do anything meaningful, so I am also going to go New England here plus the points to get the outright W at home. Next up, we have a cross-country road trip as the 6-5 Seattle Seahawks fly east to battle the 3-8 New York Jets, 1 p.m. Eastern at MetLife Stadium on Fox. Seattle leaves home looking for 3 in a row after a 16-6 win over the visiting Arizona Cardinals, while the Jets return from a bye week and look to avoid their 3rd straight loss in as many weeks. Over-under is 41.5. Seattle is favored by 1.5.
I can't trust the Jets for anything right now, so I'm going to take Seattle minus the 1.5.
I am with you. I am also going to take my boys in Seattle. Next up is an AFC North showdown as the 8-3 Pittsburgh Steelers head to Skyline Chili Country to take on the 4-7 Cincinnati Bengals. 1 p.m. at Paycor Stadium on CBS. Pittsburgh continues their road trip and looks to shake off a snowy 5-point loss at the hands of the Browns in Cleveland, while the Bengals return from their bye week and look to avoid 3 straight losses. Over under 46.5. Cincy is favored by 2.5.
Yeah, this one's interesting to me. I know I've kind of been backing Cincinnati this year, but I can't do it here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 2.5.
Yeah, Cincy's just such a perplexing team because they play so well on offense, but they find ways to lose games. The problem in this one here, historically, Joey B struggles against the Steelers. He's 3-2, but he's got 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in 5 starts. I expect this to be a close game, so I'm going to take the Steelers plus the points. Next up, we have an AFC South showdown as the 7-5 Houston Texans head to Duval County to meet the 2-9 Jacksonville Jaguars. 1 p.m. kickoff at Everbank Stadium on Fox. Texans hit the road and look to shake off a 5-point loss to the Titans, while the Jaguars return from their bye week and are looking to avoid their 5th straight loss. Over under 43.5. Houston is favored by 4.5.
God, part of me really wants to take Jacksonville here. I think with Houston losing last week, I think that's probably going to get them over the edge here, though. So I will take Houston. But, man, that's probably my least favorite pick of the week.
Yeah, perfect game for Stroud, in my opinion, to get back on track after struggling the past few weeks. So I'm going to go Texans here to win and cover on the road. Up next, the 3-8 Tennessee Titans head to Landover to face off against the 7-5 Washington Commanders, 1 p.m. at Northwest Stadium on CBS. Titans continue their road trip and look to carry momentum forward after a 3-point win over the Texans in Houston, while the Commanders have now lost 3 straight and look to avoid number 4 after a 34-26 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Over under is 44.5. Washington is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I think it's too many points. I've kind of been on Tennessee a lot this year. They're way better than their record. I'm on Tennessee plus the 5.5 here.
All right. I think this is maybe possibly finally going to be a get right game for Jaden Daniels. He started looking a little better towards the end of the game against the Cowboys last week. I think they're going to be able to shake it off and finally get a W. Maybe a little bit of a hangover game after Tennessee just got their win last week. So I'm going to go Washington to win and cover. The last of our 1 p.m. games features the 6-5 Arizona Cardinals as they fly north to battle the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. 1 p.m. at US Bank Stadium on Fox. Arizona's coming off a 16-6 loss at the hands of the Seahawks, while the Vikings return home looking for their 5th straight win after a 3-point overtime victory over the Bears in Chicago. Over under is 44.5. Minnesota is favored by 3.5.
I just don't get this fucking team. Minnesota is not, they're not even good. Like, they're not a good team. I don't understand it. They're winning games, though. I'm going to take Minnesota minus 3.5, but I'm really hoping Arizona win this game.
Yeah, definitely taking the over on this one, way over. I think it should be a fun, offensively driven game. I like Minnesota to get the win, but I just have a feeling this is going to be a field goal game, so I'm going to take Arizona here plus the points. Our 4 p.m. matchups kick off with an NFC South showdown as the 5-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers head to Charlotte to take on the 3-8 Carolina Panthers. 4:05 p.m. kickoff at Bank of America Stadium on Fox. Tampa Bay continues their road trip after a 23-point victory over the New York Football Giants in MetLife, while the Panthers stay home after a tough 3-point loss at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. Over under is 46.5. Tampa Bay is favored by 6.5.
Yeah, Bryce Young looked really good last week against the Chiefs. It was nice to see him kind of come back and have a nice game. Still think the Bucs offense is too much, though. I'm going to take Tampa.
Yeah, I think this Bucs offense is going to be too much as well. I am also going to take Tampa to win and cover. Next up, the 5-6 Los Angeles Rams head to the Big Easy to take on the 4-7 New Orleans Saints. 4:05 p.m. kickoff at Caesars Superdome on Fox. Rams hit the road after a 17-point loss to the Eagles in SoFi, while the Saints return from their bye week and are looking for their third straight win, riding the Riz train. Over under is 48.5. LA is favored by 3.
This is one of those games the Rams typically lose. God. I'm going to take the Rams. I'll take a -3. I don't like this one either, though.
Yeah, I have a feeling this game's going to be a push. I am going to take the Rams as well, but this is a game I would not bet on. The last of our 4 p.m. games is a big one. 9-2 Philadelphia Eagles are flying to Mobtown to take on the 8-4 Baltimore Ravens. 4:25 p.m. kickoff at M&T Bank Stadium on CBS. Philadelphia is looking to get their 8th straight victory after beating the Rams by 17 on Sunday night, while the Ravens enter on a short week after beating the Chargers by 7 in LA on Monday Night Football. Over under 50.5. Baltimore is favored by 2.5.
Yeah. I don't have a game really other than the Rams on Sunday, so I will be rooting heavily for Baltimore in this one as we need Philly to lose a game. So I'm going to take Baltimore -2.5.
Yeah, this should be a fun matchup to watch these two running attacks go head-to-head. This may come down to a final drive. I'm not sure who's going to win this one, so I'm leaning towards taking the points in Philly. This is a 4:25 game. Yeah, I'm going to take Philly here plus the points. I think this is probably going to be maybe a 1-2 point win. Our Sunday Night Football matchup features the 5-6 San Francisco 49ers as they head to Orchard Park to battle the 9-2 Buffalo Bills. 8:20 p.m. kickoff at Highmark Stadium on NBC. San Fran looks to avoid their third straight loss after a 28-point defeat at the hands of the Packers in Green Bay, while the Bills return from their bye week and are looking for their 7th straight victory in what apparently is going to be some crazy-ass winter vortex insane weather. Over under is 44.5. Buffalo is favored by 6.5.
Yeah, weather's supposed to be really bad. That's where a 6.5 point spread. It's kind of risky to take, but Niners dealing with all the injuries. I think Buffalo's probably safe here, but that is a high spread for the weather. But I think I'm still going to go Buffalo -6.5.
Yeah, Bill's coming off a bye to prepare for this, and I don't think Purdy, he's going to be back, but I don't think he's 100%, and it's throwing shoulder, which is a little concerning, especially in cold weather. It's going to be hard for him to keep that warm. So I am also going to go Buffalo here to win and cover. Our Monday Night Football matchup is an AFC battle as the 3-8 Cleveland Browns head to the Rockies to face off against the 7-5 Denver Broncos. 8:15 p.m. kickoff at Mile High on ESPN. Cleveland hits the road after securing a big division win 24-19 over the rival Pittsburgh Steelers, while the Broncos return home and are looking for their third straight victory after securing their own win over a division rival as they beat the Raiders 29-19 in Vegas. Over under is 41.5. Denver is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, how can I not be with Jameis right now? I'm taking Jameis plus 5.5. I think the motivation is going to really be flowing this week.
Broncos are fighting for a wild card spot in the AFC right now. They've been protecting the ball well as late. Knicks has been playing well. Home matchup in prime time. I love Jameis Winston, but I'm going to take Denver here to win and cover at Mile High. We have no bye week teams this week, guys. Everybody is playing, so stuff's going to be shaking out here. Let's lead into locks. Jake, what's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week is Thursday night. I'm taking the Packers at home -3.5. The Dolphins just haven't proven they can win in cold weather yet, so I do like the Packers at home -3.5.
My lock of the week is Tampa Bay over Carolina. Look for Carolina's defense to struggle slowing down Baker in that backfield. Who's your dog?
Dog of the week's going to be the Patriots. I just said Colts just played the Lions. Teams still haven't won after playing the Lions. You're going on the road. I know the Patriots aren't that fantastic, but neither are the Colts, so I'll take the Patriots at home.
I'm right there with you. My underdog of the week is also the Patriot with the Colts. Indy's offense just isn't doing anything well right now. They're in the bottom third of the league against the pass, so I expect Drake May to make a couple plays here that'll make the difference and get the home win for the Pats. All right, guys, that is it for us. NFL podcast here, TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown, NFL edition, Week 13 picks. Please like, share, subscribe. For those of you tuned in, we appreciate it. We will see you guys next week for Week 14.
See you, everyone.